out tonight to hear the updates that we have to provide you. But before we get started, because I'm a little nervous, I want to start off with a quick word of prayer, if that's okay with you. So, if you would pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. Thank you for this time of gathering. Father, we thank you for this city that we all get to live in, share, and serve. God, we ask that you be with us tonight. We ask that there be a sense of peace that comes over the room, that this meeting is effective, informative, and that we all walk away with ideas on how we can better serve our community as we build Duncanville together in the redevelopment next phases that are to come. Jesus, we ask all these things in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right, with that, so I would like to start with recognizing any council members that are present in the room. I think I saw Council Member Mac Burnett, District 2. Thank you for coming out, sir. I don't think I missed any other council members. The mayor couldn't make it tonight. He sends his love. And Karen Cherry Brown as well. Today is her birthday. So it is her birthday. She is out celebrating, so happy birthday to you, Councilwoman Karen Cherry. And if there are any board and commission meeting members here, I see Patrick Harvey. He is the chair of our Economic Development Corporation. He was also council member at large before I was elected into the seat. So, are there any other board? Yes. Well, I almost called you Toby, but Thomas Lackey over community engagement. Angela Thorpe Harris. She's the chair of our Arts and Arts Commission. Thank you for coming out. Anyone else? Okay, I just want to make sure I recognize council, board, and commission. And if you are interested in joining our board and commission, please go online and complete the application. Review all of the boards and commissions that are available. And if there is any that speak to you, we would ask that you would please apply and come out for the interview so we can get you to work. Now, before I pass the mic over, I wanted to explain why are we doing a town hall tonight. And I say we because I feel like we are all a community. We all play a role in watching our city grow and progress. And so we're having this so that way you can be informed of the things that council, the items that we're working on, things that we have approved, and things that are moving forward and that are to come. So it's to inform you of how your tax dollars are being spent. And if you have any questions, tonight is your night to ask. We're going to ask that once we finish with all of the presentations, please feel free to stick around and ask any questions you may have based on what you've seen in the presentations. We have snacks in the back. We have some chips, soda, and water. Please feel free to take part in that. And one more thing, thank you to the staff for pulling this off. I couldn't have done it without you, so thank you to our interim city manager, our assistant city manager, thank you so much. And the staff that is present here to do presentations. As a city employee myself, not for the city of Duncanville, because some people think when I say that, I mean city of Duncanville. No, I am a city employee in a different city, but I know what it's like to work all day and then turn around and have to work a night meeting. So it is my goal that we try not to hold them too long, but I do want to make sure that you are served in the process. We kind of want to allow them to get home to their families. So we plan to do this from 6 to 8 p.m. But feel free to ask whatever questions you need because what's important is that you get the information you need. So with that, I would like to thank Mr. Kenneth Govan. Come on up. Kenneth Govan chaired our Economic Development Corporation, DCEDC board before Patrick Harvey, and he served on the board for how many years? 6 years. 6 years. So, and chaired it for 3 years. So we can kind of say that you probably are invested in our community. And you're on the 10th board now. So I'm letting you know that because he is here to represent Encore, but he is our homegrown Kenneth Govan. And so I will pass the mic over to him so he can speak on behalf of Encore, but he is well versed in the things here in the city of Duncanville. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening. How's everyone doing? As Mayor Pro-Tem said, my name is Kenneth Govan. I'm the district manager for Encore Electric Delivery Company here in Duncanville. I have the pleasure of serving this whole region, everything south of Dallas, all the way down to Ellis County. And I do have the honor and privilege of actually being a resident of Duncanville. So I appreciate y'all being here. This is a great crowd here. I'm glad to see your interest in regards to your city and what you're doing. Is that better? Okay. Okay, I'll do that. So what I want to do is I want to make sure, the reason why I'm here tonight is because everyone here is my customer. Everyone here is served by Encore. If you live in the city of Duncanville, you're served by Encore. If you have a business here in Duncanville, you're served by Encore. So with that being said, we have a lot of resources, we have a lot of availability, and things that we want to make sure you know, because the quality of life that you have in Duncanville is because of what you actually know, and what you actually know that you have those resources to do. So is that good? So I'm gonna say this, I know if somebody might have an individual question that they have a question about something happened particularly at your home. Something happened particularly 5 years ago. I will be here until the end of the program. So I would ask if you have any questions, general questions in regards to that. I have a question and answer period, but if you have something specifically for your home, let me know. 9 times out of 10, I probably won't know specifically about what happened at your house, but I promise you I'll get you the information in regards to that. There we go. These are the things I want to go over tonight in regards to Encore. What are the things about Encore? Causes about power outages. I was just talking to a gentleman a few minutes ago, and he was talking about power outages at his home. The Duncanville distribution system overview, power outages in Duncanville for 2025, tree trimming and waste and vegetation management, street lights, weatherization, and how to connect with Encore. Now, who all understand in regards to who you pay your electric bill to and how Encore fits into that service? Does anybody not know?
I have no idea.
Okay, here's the thing. A lot of times people will call me and they'll say, hey, Mr. Govan, I can't pay my electric bill this month. Can you help me? Or I literally had a lady in Cedar Hill call me one time before and said that they cut my electricity off, but I'm having a party this evening. Can you cut it on for me for just a little while? No, ma'am. Here's the situation. It's not, I don't want to. I try very hard to work with the community. And because this is where I live. I want to make sure that we're successful in our community. But who buys anything online? Who goes online and buys anything at a store? Anybody compare shop? All right. So here's the thing though. Let's say you buy a dress, a shirt, a pair of pants, a pair of shoes. You go to JCPenney's, you go to
Macy's.
Somebody said Walmart. But let's say Walmart, and let's say Abercrombie and Finch. You got 3 different stores. Each one of those stores online, you have FedEx that will deliver the item to your home, a UPS or something like that. You don't pay them individually when you do that. When you look at your bill, there's a charge on there that says shipping and delivery. We're the FedEx of the electric industry. You don't get a bill from us. A lot of people call me and say, I'm just not gonna pay your bill this month. Okay. You didn't get a bill from me this month. You got a bill from your retail provider. Your retail provider pays us in regards to that. That's why I say everybody's your customer. The thing about it is you may be with TXU, you may be with Gexa, you may be with Green Mountain, but all of you are my customer in regards to that. That does not change. We serve about 13 million people. With that being said, when I do someone calls me and they say, I just need if you can do this just for me. If I can't agree to do it for 13 million customers, I can't do it for you. They'll call and I understand. If you're a senior citizen, you may have a situation at your house, economics. If you call me and say, can you come cut this tree because it has fallen on my home and I'm scared it's gonna do something. If I can't do it for every other of my 13 million customers, not just Duncanville, my whole 13 million, I can't do it. Now, will I work with you in regards to trying to find someone in the community that will help you with that? Yes. And that's why I'm involved with the chamber. That's why I'm involved in different organizations, working with elected officials, trying to help you find services that'll help you. Because I'm just like a city has taxes, I use ratepayers. So the bill that you pay every month on your ratepayers, I'm spending money on other customers over here. So I have to be sure I can go through that whole thing. Texas is growing. Texas is growing. And no matter what you say, good or bad, we got about 75,000 people every month that move to Texas. Encore is literally the largest utility in Texas. We're the second largest in the country. And we're just in Texas. But with that being said, we're growing with them. Our infrastructure, all of our systems, all of our investments. This is the number that everybody is very concerned with. Over the next 5 years, the Public Utility Commission is a company that regulates Encore and tells us exactly how much we can charge each customer. A lot of times when you'll see, well, we filed a rate case in the newspaper. The state has to review that. We don't just go in there and say, we're gonna do a rate case, and this is how much we're gonna charge, and this is how much we're gonna charge you. The state tells us how much we can and cannot do for that. So, but they've approved us, we're gonna do $36 billion in regards to infrastructure over the next 5 years. That includes serving new facilities, kind of cutting trees, and also the maintenance on the system that we have now. These are the causes when people have power outages. Usually 99% of the time it's caused by trees, lightning, or wildlife. That's a snake or a squirrel that has climbed onto the line. A lot of people will call me and say, Kenneth, it's a beautiful day. There's no storm. Why is my lights out? Well, the reason for that, one of two things. A car has hit a pole somewhere, or we had a snake or a squirrel that literally climbs over into our system. Now, we do have wildlife protection on our systems, but sometimes a snake will congeal its body. You know how scary it is to go out there to a transformer and you open it up and find a dead snake sitting in your transformer?
I think he's dead.
Yeah. And I'm that person, if God kicked it out of heaven, I can't do nothing with it on earth. This is how our system is set up. Our substation, street lights, trees are growing everywhere. A lot of times when people say, well, just cut the trees down.
No.
See, and it's always a fight between who wants them and who don't want them. Number two, us paying for somebody else to cut somebody else's tree. We can't cut somebody else's tree. Encore does not own any trees. So a lot of times when we're cutting trees because they've caused a power outage or because they have fallen into the power lines. So when you call me and you say, I have a tree in my backyard and I need to have it cut, I'm gonna tell you, you need to find a service to help you cut your tree. Now, if it causes a power outage and it falls in regards to, it has fallen into the power line, there's a storm and wind has come through, we will actually cut that, but we cut that to get the power back on. If it's related to get the power back on. I had a lady in Duncanville called me and said she wanted us to come cut her trees. But hers went out to underground. But she said we cut her neighbors during the storm when her power went out too. And believe it or not, now one thing is, I would research and find out the truth in regards to certain things. I've had people call me, like, after a storm, this lady was cut off for non-pay. Her power was off before the storm. She called me and said that the state told her that after a storm, we have to cut everybody back on, even though she was cut off. Understand in regards to that, research, don't let people just tell you what you can and can't do. If somebody comes knocking on your door and say, I'm partnering with Encore, and I'm gonna help you with your electric bill. Tell them you talk to me and tell them I said call 911. I've had citizens that call me, they said there's a guy at my door and he says that he's partnering with Encore and that he's gonna help me in my electric bill. We don't partner with anybody. There are 96 companies in Texas that sell electricity to everybody in the state of Texas. We have agreements with 75 of those because the other people don't serve this area. We have the exact same contract with every retail provider. I don't care if it's TXU, Reliant, Green Mountain, we have the exact same contract. So if somebody comes and tell you that we're doing a special promotion and we have a special agreement with Encore, that is not true. City of Duncanville, it says 16,000 customers. That's 16,000 meters. We know it's more than 16,000 people who live in Duncanville. That's 16,000 meters, 16,000 plus. About 227 miles of electric lines that we have in Duncanville. We have to manage all those lines in regards to that. We do a lot of planned maintenance feeders, where we will go through there and we'll look at electric lines and find exactly where trees have grown into and they've maybe caused a problem in the past. Once they cause a certain number of problems on different electric lines, we will go there and we'll do those maintenance on those trees. And I know a lot of people get upset when we come there and cut trees. I do understand that, but it's for power quality in regards to that. We don't come and cut trees unless they have caused a problem. Even when we do backbone feeders. Now, one of the things we will do is who has seen the big electric line, not the wooden ones and the pole you see on the street, but the big electric ones that go across country. A lot of times people will see those properties, those electric lines, they'll plant trees up under those. Those are even worse. Each one of those feeders serves about 15,000 customers. When you plant a tree up under those, and those are what they call the 345 electric line. That's a live electricity on those lines. And so when you do that, the electricity during the summertime, during the wintertime, when y'all use a lot of electricity, when it's 20 degrees outside and you turn your heat up to 80, a lot of electricity has to flow through there to deal with that. Electricity gets heavy. So when it gets heavy, the line starts to sag. If it gets anywhere up to 10 feet close to those trees, they can catch on fire. PUC says that when we do a tree trimming, we're gonna do 10 feet away from the lines. Now, how many people have seen us cut trees?
Oh, yeah.
How many people like it when we cut trees?
Well, I like electricity.
It needs to be done. It doesn't look good though. It doesn't look good. And I'm one of the ones internally, I'll tell them, is there anything else we can do? Can we just round it? We have arborists on our staff who work for the state, and they tell us exactly how we can cut trees to make sure that tree doesn't die. That's the last thing we want, is to kill a tree while we're trying to cut for the electric lines. Now, we do have situations where because of the way the tree is laying, and because of the way it's tilted, we'll cut a tree and we'll say, no matter how we cut this to get it away from that tree, from that line, it's going to die. So then we'll talk with either the homeowner or the property owner, and we'll suggest to them, allow us to take that tree out. Because what we don't want is to have a tree to die because we have to cut that line for it. Street lights. How many people know we own the street lights and not the city?
I knew that.
A lot of people think the city owns the street light. Now, I have been blessed that the city of Duncanville and a lot of my cities partner with me in regards to reporting street lights. But we don't know the street lights don't work until you tell us. A lot of people, I've had people call me and they've said, Kenneth, that street light hasn't worked in a year. Have you reported that it doesn't work? Well, no, don't y'all know it don't work? Not until you tell us. Next question is, how do I report it? I didn't know I could report it. I thought that was the city's responsibility. It's a partnership, it's a quality of life that we have in this city. But it's everybody's responsibility to make sure we know it. That's our responsibility to fix it, and we're going to. Whenever we have a street light, how many people have seen though the new white lights we're putting in Duncanville? How many people still have the yellow lights in their neighborhoods? Anybody curious in regards to why you have both? Well, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you that. We have an agreement with the Public Utility Commission in regards to, we're going to change out all the lights in regards to the street lights to the LED white lights. What we're doing is, we're doing it through our arbitration note. We change them as they go out. That way, we don't charge people for doing it. It's part of the rates that we actually do that. But the thing about it is that sometimes we do that, now you're gonna have a white light, a yellow light, a white light, a yellow light. Not a good look for a little while, but in the end, you're gonna have a beautiful stream of white lights and LED lights going down. Now, we're also working with the city that they have different projects. We have capital improvement projects where going down major thoroughfares, we go ahead and change out those lights. How many people actually know in regards to how to report a street light if the street light goes out? I love it. Thank you. I love it. www.encore.com/streetlights. It's a Google program where if you go on the website and you type in your address in this field here, just address or those coordinates. It's a Google form, so you don't have to find the light. You can see if it's right there in front of your house or in the house next door, the lights will pop up. You click on that light, then it gives you the different attributes in regards to it. Has the light gone out? Has somebody hit the pole? Is it staying on during the day? We actually don't like them staying on during the day as well. So that's not efficient at all. So when you do that, it'll ask you for your name, either your phone number or your email address, and it'll ask you how do you want to be notified in regards to when we fix the light. We have up to 2 weeks to fix a light, and the reason why, and usually we get it done within 3 or 4 days, but we have up to 3 weeks depending on what kind of backlog we have. I'd rather give you 2 weeks and get it done in 3 days than give you 3 days and take you 2 weeks to do. You can have it come back to you, either call you or email you, and we'll tell you, we fixed this light, we got this light, we fixed this light, or if we did not get it fixed, why we did not get it fixed. Sometimes it's a situation where if it's a string of lights that's out, we might have to go in there, we have to dig into the ground and do the underground work. But when we do that, now we got to get a permit from the city. Now we have to do traffic control. Now we have to fix all those lights at the same time. We have to follow the exact same rules as everybody else when they're in town. We don't get a pass on that. And frankly, I don't want to pass on that. When the city's out there working and we want to know exactly who's working on our right of way, even if it's me. It's about to get cold, y'all. It's cold tonight. It's cold tonight. A lot of people will ask us, what are y'all doing to prepare for the wintertime? What are y'all doing to prepare for the summertime? We're always in year-round weatherization in regards to our system. We are always doing maintenance on our system. A lot of times, it does come at times. Some of the outages you see, you should get a notice in regards to an email or a tag on your door saying that we're doing maintenance on your neighborhood. We're going to cut the power off for 2 hours. That's part of the maintenance that we're doing in regards to making sure that when the wintertime comes, when the summertime comes, we're still here to make sure that we can serve your houses and make sure that when it's 28 degrees outside, you still have electricity at your house. Can't stop it all. Can't stop a carpet hitting the pole. Can't stop a snake from crawling into a transformer. Can't stop some equipment that we've done maintenance on. Anything man-made will fail. I can't stop that. My idea of customer service is not telling you it's not going to happen. My idea is being realistic with you and saying, what am I going to do if it does happen? And my agreement to you is that if you follow the information and you get the resources that we're trying to share with you and let us know in regards to that, we'll get out there and we'll get it fixed. My service center is right there in DeSoto, and it services Duncanville, Cedar Hill, Lancaster, and Red Oak. Ways to connect with Encore. On my desk, like I said, I will be here for the duration of the meeting. I live here in Duncanville, so I'm interested in regards to other things that they're saying. I have this information. Does anybody here have the My Encore app? How do you feel about the My Encore app? Yes. A lot of times, I can't stop a power outage from happening, but you'll feel better if you know we know about it, we are working on it, you're not in the dark. That's a bad feeling. I hate that feeling myself when I've reported something to somebody, I'm concerned about something, and then you call them, I don't know what happened next. It just goes into a black hole. With the My Encore app, it goes to your phone, it'll tell you, yes, we do know about this outage, we're doing this in the neighborhood, this is happening here. Estimated time of restoration is gonna be 3 hours. Estimated time of restoration is gonna be 5 hours. 4.5 hours comes by, your power's still not on, it sends you another one. We said it was gonna be 4.5, we said it was gonna be 5 hours. We found some additional things that we have to do, but at least you know. If you know if you need to go out to dinner, and you're not sitting at home getting even mad because it's hot outside and getting even colder. On social media, and of course, if anybody wants to, you can always call us. The good thing about the My Encore app, you can also report streetlights on that one as well. If you move into a new house and you want to change and get new electric service. Now, I actually have it set up as well on My Encore app. My mother is a senior citizen in DeSoto. My uncle is a senior citizen. My other aunt in Oak Cliff. I have all their houses on mine, so I know when their power goes out. It's a safety thing, and it's a convenient thing. But if you don't know you have those resources, you don't know that you can use it. I love this virtual. Anybody have Alexa at their house? No. Now we have a Sarah. These are the different pages. We also have the Encore outage map. If you go on the encore.com or if you go on the My Encore app, it has the outage map. And it shows, a lot of times I get a phone call from the city. We've had widespread outages. Which part of the city are out, Kenneth? Which section of the city are out? Well, 9 times out of 10, if I have a widespread outage, I am not sitting by the phone waiting on someone to call. I'm talking to 50 million people at the same time. That way you can have access to your information and you can get some kind of, you can get control in your hand. Again, don't want to be in the dark. I want you to have information. And what I do not want is for me not to be available and you go without the information that you need for your services. Again, we have all the social medias in regards to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can find us each on each one of those. Critical load, critical care. A lot of times people will call and they'll say, my grandmother is on oxygen at the house and I want to be on critical care. Number one, you can't call me and tell me that your doctor has to fill out a form to do that. Number two, I do not want you to be misled in regards to saying, I'm on critical care, so I don't have to pay my bill this month, because if I don't pay my bill and y'all cut me off, my grandmother's gonna die. So y'all can't cut me off. That's not true at all. Number three, I can't tell you because you're on critical care, oh, your power will never go out. If your power can never go out, I'll make it where your power will never go out when you're on critical care or not. Critical care means that if we know you're on critical care, you filled out the form in regards to that. If we know we've had a power outage and we know it's going to last over a certain amount of time, we reach out to that customer, and then we reach out to social services around you to say the fire department needs to go get this customer because our power's going to be out. So it's a resource for you in regards to helping you whenever you need that. And we do work with the city in regards to knowing those different services. And again, please, your retail provider or Encore will have the forms. Please get the form filled out. You can't just call us and say, I wanna be on critical care, so my power can never go out. The city can call me and they say, I want the mayor's house, the mayor said, oh, he wants his house on critical care. No, that doesn't happen that way. Yes, sir.
I got a question for you. I called on before they came out and took the picture. The flag and group into the tree. It just.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
The line has grown into the tree. Then it came out 3 times, took the picture, and never put the line, didn't do anything.
Did they come out because it was a power outage? Or,
The line is drawn into the tree. The line is drawn into the tree.
but at the beginning, that's what I said. We don't cut it just because it goes into the tree. We grow it because it causes a power outage. We cut it because it causes a power outage. Unfortunately, Duncanville is full of trees. And our power outage, and our line, and the trees are going into every power outage, into every power line.
It grown into the tree.
No, we call that somebody owning a tree. We don't own a tree. And again, I can't use everybody else's taxpayers' money to cut your tree.
It's not our trees, it's the tree.
Then but it's not our tree.
But I'm just on the line.
We own the line, not the tree. The line works. The line, does the line work? Does the line work? Does the line work? I can't do that, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Question number 1, how deep are those power lines along the
That's a good question. I would have to find out. I want to say 6 feet, but I don't think they're that deep. I don't think they're that deep. Yes, sir.
The street light is fixed, and there's still branches around it. Which might be the reason why it went out the break, and they may knock it out. When the person that does the repair, do they report that there's limbs still leaving that light?
No, they wouldn't do that. Because we're not gonna come in, we're not going to cut a tree that's around a light. Because the tree would not cause the power, the light to go out.
Okay, because branches are hitting the light on the window.
Okay?
They came out and repaired the light, but the branches are still there.
But I would bet my life, we didn't repair the light because the tree hit it. Because the tree will cause a power outage on the power line, not the light. Because the light is solid.
Right, I understand, so there's no communication between whoever fixed it, to the people that are supposed to trim that tree? Is that a part?
We'll do a tree trimming if it causes a power outage. That's it. We're not in the service of regards to being in regards to being tree trimmers. We do that if it causes a power outage.
That falls on the city.
If it doesn't follow the law. Somebody else is over here. Yes, ma'am.
We have easement on the property. Our easement, we don't own that property. The city or whoever the property owner, or the city will own that property. Our easement is where our facilities are. So we don't actually own the property, so the tree is not. This is why the easement is there. You can lock it, we always have to have access to our property. Yes, ma'am. So you can lock the gate. I don't want you to think you can, but usually we have what they call, it's called a S lock. It's a gold lock that Uncle will share with you. So you can still lock the gate. If we come out there, we can actually unlock our side to get to our property.
Please use the mic.
What's the question?
I'll talk to you. Okay.
So, I'm so excited to see we have so many questions. That means that there's very say, if we could, please be willing to hold the questions to the end of the meeting. I have a few other items I would like to, I have a lot of information I'm trying to stuff into you tonight. That's to make you a well-informed citizen. So we're gonna have the city manager come up next, do a presentation on the budget, and we'll roll into all the other presentations after that. And then at the end, we will open up the floor for more questions. Is that okay? Is that okay? Okay. And Kenneth is gonna stick around. Thank you, sir. Mr. Richard Abernathy, interim city manager. Thank you, and thank you, Kenneth. Thank you.
Good evening, thank you. Again, I'm Richard Abernathy, the interim city manager for the city of Duncanville. And this next presentation, I'm really just gonna get a quick summary of our current adopted budget for the FY 2025-26 fiscal year. And so really, the total budget for the city is around $91 million. And our fiscal year runs from October 1st, 2025 to September 30th of 2026. And the budget is actually supported by multiple funds. There's a general fund which is supported by like sales tax and property tax, and that funds like police and fire and your libraries. And then you also have your utility fund, which funds your water and wastewater, and that's paid through your water bills. And the budget is not only just a financial document, it's a plan for delivering services to the community. So again, as I mentioned earlier, it funds police, fire, library, parks and recreation, street maintenance, and water and sewer. So what I'd like to do is kind of real quickly highlight some of the items that are in this current budget that we're doing for the community. Obviously, we're going to continue supports of the arts, as well as signature events. We now have the holiday lights that's coming up this Friday. We have the Balloon Fest in the spring. We've got the 4th of July parade. Then we have the Hispanic Heritage Festival, or in the years when we're not hosting out Best Southwest, it's a Mexican Independence Day celebration. And so all those events, that is incorporated in the budget. We did add 2 police officers and 2 firefighters in this budget, so we really want to continue that commitment to public safety. And one thing you're going to start seeing, and we're going to talk a little bit about it tonight, is we're now getting into performance metrics and dashboards, and so you can see, how are we doing, how we're responding to things, how we're doing overall, and that just kind of helps us overall improve what we're doing, and also make sure we give information for council so they can make decisions on where resources should be allocated for the future budgets. And then one thing, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but we do have this new Up and Gov online budget and transparency portal. We've rolled out soft roll, and we're going to be rolling out the full version in January and briefing our council on that. And just a few other items we do have an economic development corporation, so a half cent of your sales tax does go. It was voter approved to fund this corporation. And one thing they do is really just help incentivize businesses to come to the community, retain businesses. And so there is $900,000 in that budget for incentives to redevelop shopping centers, other types, our Main Street corridor downtown, and so we've got that in there too. And then also just our hotel motel tax, investing in our field house improvements, and then again, just putting money toward improving our water and sewer system. We gotta make sure we take care of that, and you got good clean water on a daily basis, as well as adequate sewer. Just a few other things, continuing ADA accessible digital content. We're gonna be updating our website to a new platform, which will give us a lot more features, but also making sure that website's ADA compliant. And so, as I mentioned earlier, the budget's about $91 million, but $45 million of that budget is actually the general fund. And again, that's funded by, the majority, 53% of that fund is funded by property taxes, with our sales tax being the 25%, the close second. And then just other little sources of revenues, fines and fees, permits and licenses, as well as interest and franchise fees. But again, the bulk of the budget really is supported by the property taxes the residents pay on an annual basis. So, and again, the general fund really does fund those core services, your police, your fire, your street maintenance, your parks, and your library. So really an essential component of the budget. And so real quickly, I wanted to show, if you want to go look at a copy of the budget, it is available online. And so this is just a snapshot of our front home page. and an arrow right there. It's literally right there in the right-hand corner. And then real quickly, we'll just kind of draw you to a link and show you online. Again, this is the same link you'd find on the website, but it's pretty robust in the aspect that you can really kind of scroll. You can do an overview of the budget. You can look at like the budget in brief, for example. And you can also drill down to the actual department, but we'll just kind of scroll down and show you this real quick, and you can see details of those funds and by type for revenue, as well as other, what those impacts are. And so again, I do highly encourage, if you do want to check out the budget, just like I said, at DuncanvilleTX.gov. Again, it's on that right-hand side. And again, and especially if you like numbers and budgets, you can have a lot of fun. You'll be there all day. But it's just a good informative tool. And again, we're going to be rolling out this full-blown government on OpenGov budget and transparency portal next month. So we're really excited about that. And again, it'll be in that same location. And so with further ado, that concludes the budget. Again, we'll be available for questions at the end. But I'd now like to invite Shahad Muhammad, our Assistant Director, Joy Barfield from our Public Works Department as well, and also Victor Bizarro with our Code Enforcement. And they're going to touch on our new MGO Connect, which is a way for you to report service requests and service to the city. And then we'll talk a little bit about code, and then Shahad will wrap up with some of our CIP, and then we'll also visit on some of the big projects we're working on, like the AMI and our bond program. So with further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Shahad Muhammad, our Assistant Director for Public Works.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is Shahad Muhammad, and I am the Assistant Director of Public Works. I directly oversee streets, transportation, maintenance, and capital development, as well as the code enforcement. With me here is one of our new rock stars that we hired about 6 months ago with the city of Duncanville. She's our project coordinator, and she has helped us so far with managing a lot of initiatives. On top of that is our MGO, or what stands for My Government Online portal. Now, this is an online portal that's going to help you report any of your concerns, questions, or services for a lot of departments in the city. Majority of them under Public Works, but multiple other departments, to include police, fire, or utility billing. And also, it will help us connect those requests to our work order system and manage our work order system and asset management internally. And with that, I will have Joy, okay, take it from there. Here you go.
Good evening. Again, my name is Joy Barfield, and I am the Public Works Project Coordinator. All right, so I'm going to discuss today the My Government Online, and as Shahad mentioned, that it will make it easier for citizens of Duncanville to submit service requests. All right, so we launched on October 1st, 2025, and this platform makes it easier for the residents to submit service requests. It allows residents to submit either online or through the web app. You can submit your request anonymously, but residents must create an account if you're wanting to be notified of any issues that you report. Now, once those requests are submitted, they are automatically routed to the department, to the particular department that you mentioned, so they can service those requests and get anything completed fast. So how to create an account? The first thing you need to do is either go to ngoconnect.org, or you can download the app if you're going to use your smartphone. I have here the Google Play QR code and the Apple QR code. If you wanted to take some time right now to go ahead and scan those, you can get the app downloaded onto your device now. Once you do that, again, you will need to create your account. If you want to be notified of any type of service request, the status, and if it's closed, if they completed it, who actually completed it, MGO Connect will provide you all of that information. Now, when you're creating your account, there's a 3-step process. The first step is to select new account, and you'll enter in all of your contact information, your name, your email address, your phone number, your address, any information that you want to store on MGO Connect, you would enter that there. And then you'll need to, the third step is to verify your account. So once you click submit, you're gonna get a phone call from MGO. And it's gonna be an automated system stating that, you know, you've registered your account and that's it. After you do that, you are registered. Now to submit a service request, I had some handouts at the front there. You either have a guide for your actual cell phone, and there's also another guide if you're using a laptop or computer.
We noticed that the cell phone guides, a lot of them were not picked up, so if you don't have one for the cell phone guide, please feel free to pick one up as you leave. It's gonna be, you know, taking you a step-by-step, pretty easy process of just following one by just selecting submit a request, and it takes you from there into multiple categories. You pick the category or basically the department that you are reporting the issue under, and once you select that, it takes you directly to, you know, adding any information or any, you know, pictures or anything that you want to share about a specific problem or address area. And you can always stay anonymous if you pick to choose to be anonymous in any issue that you want to report. You can choose anonymous and just next. You don't have to provide any information about yourself or log into your account. But know that if you choose to be anonymous, we might not be able to reach you back with updates about your case, because only through the email we can send back any information.
And also, if you decide to upload any photos, if you're doing it from your cell phone, of course, that's gonna be the easiest way because you have your cell phone. You can take a picture right then and there. If you are submitting the request online, you will have to, you know, send that picture to your computer via email in order to upload it into the account. Now, if you're registered with your account and you don't have the photo available right now, then you can always go back, go to your dashboard and add that picture or any files at a later date. All right, so Shahad's gonna discuss our performance report for MGO.
All right, so one of the very cool things, and under the initiative that we have as a city and the promise we made about transparency, is we created these KPI dashboards for each of those divisions that are using the system with us. And on top of that, it just incorporates everybody that is responding to our service request platform here also in this kind of dashboard. Now, us as a city staff would have the ability to look into the details of each of those requests and see the staff that worked on it and the status of it and everything. However, this is more of what will be communicated to public through council on a regular basis, where they can see updates of where we stand in general on all of our service request response. So it will be able to show or track the service requests that are submitted by public to all of the different departments. As it's shown here, this is a snapshot in time. So this belongs to a specific time frame that we pulled that report off, and it's just live update as we update the system with more work. Now, our average time to decision, as it stands, of the time we pulled this, which is about like 5 days ago, it's 1.9 days, and that is the time to acknowledge, the staff to acknowledge a request, see it, and respond to it. Now, the open-close service request happens after it gets acknowledged. So once staff acknowledge it, it's either an open service request that we are working on, either investigating or addressing, versus closed where the work is done, we responded and we closed it. So here is also a way to track our problematic areas somehow to help us for our planning from a planning perspective and addressing our issues from a strategy perspective. We were able to kind of track what are our concern areas, where are we getting a lot of requests. So this is really shows per request type the category, and as you see here, not able to read properly.
Code enforcement.
So code enforcement is our heroes here, you know, so they get a lot of complaints. which is normal and it is really expected. So, so after that, you see, you know, either potholes or depending on the reports, concern, and the issue, it's going to show how many of them we have received in each category. And here is, out of those open and closed, how many did we accept? So we found enough information to address the issue and we accept them as is. How many did we return? So we had questions, or we wanted to verify something, or we wanted to ask you to, you know, answer something about it in order to be able to do something about it, which is the return, or we can, or it's denied. Now these denied cases is usually the things that the city does not do, or basically, you know, we get sometimes some random requests about things, and sometimes we get things that does not belong to that specific department. However, when the team is denying it, they're giving direction on where you should resubmit, which is those cases is where, okay, a lot of cases we receive complaints, for example, about things that parking in the public right-of-way. Parking in the public right-of-way is a police concern, not a code enforcement concern. So when it comes to us, we direct it back to get resubmitted to police department so the police can address it from there. Now this one, open versus closed work orders. Work orders is a different thing. Work orders is more of what we do proactively, internally. So as staff, we want to be able to show that we're not only being reactive to your service requests about what we do, but we're also proactive. We are doing a lot of things and a lot of work orders on a daily basis by all of these departments on addressing issues like that. Maintenance related, closing potholes, addressing violations to code and things like that. And that's what it showed in the last corner over there. And that's pretty much it for the dashboard. So next thing, I'm gonna call here another rock star, which is Victor Pizarro, and he's our code enforcement superintendent. He's gonna talk about some of the things we're doing with code enforcement and a new initiative as well.
Yes, so I'm Victor Pizarro, Code Enforcement Superintendent, so I'm in charge of code enforcement. So I'm that department that you love to see me if you're the one complaining, and you hate to see me if I'm pulling over your house. But we are, you know, we have to be here, right? Because the only way for us to maintain the city, right? Maintain your neighborhoods, maintain your property values is for me to be out there proactively, looking for violations, and also reactively, as we're speaking about with the MGO, the new online app that we have for complaints. So for everybody that doesn't know what we do, so we promote safe and clean and attractive neighborhoods, so we try to maintain your neighborhoods, right? So we want everybody to be able to walk your neighborhoods, feel safe, be proud of where you live. We like to partner with our residents via either the app, or if you want to call me, you can do that too. Any questions that you have, I'm always available. We like to definitely, every time we go to an actual property, whether it is a violation or anybody that called us out because they had questions, we want to always do an education first type of thing, right? So we're not always gonna go out there and immediately issue citations or even a notice of violation. There might be an actual issue, right? Let's say high grass. That might be at your property, at that property. And just because you called us doesn't mean we're gonna give you a notice of violation. We like to listen to our residents. We want to take every property in a case-by-case basis. Why? Because everybody's situation is different, right? And we also are not here to punish people or any kind of residents or anything like that. Now, we do take into account a lot of different factors when it comes to that. But again, at the end of the day, we want to be able to work with a partnership with our residents to be able to maintain our neighborhoods. Some of our top violations here, like the high grass, the outside storage, parking on the grass, trash and debris, and low-hanging limbs. I know, especially the last one, I know that's been an issue, especially with the alleyways. So I'm definitely, been working with my team to try to identify all the alleyways that have all these issues, to kind of have the residents that border those alleys to try to clear those out. Why? Because we want you to be able to use your alleys. We also don't want you to drive down the alley and have your car basically crashed, and all those things, right? You want to be able also to use that area of your property. This is some of the, kind of gives you a little bit more of a visual, kind of what we do. So this one is high grass. You can see on the left how it is and then how it is after the fact. Now, to get to that end part, it does take a little bit of time because we do give our residents at least 2 notices of violations before we actually take the further enforcement, right? So we try to, I know whenever, most of my residents, whenever they actually see a notice of violation, they think it's a citation, it's not. Or they take it in a negative way, but that's actually more for us to be able to kind of let them know, hey, there is a violation, what's going on, talk to us about it, call us, let us know, hey, listen, I haven't cut the grass, my lawnmower broke, I need a little bit more time, and that way we can work with those residents. But that's what we give those 2. Maybe you didn't get the first one. So then at that point, we issue a final notice, kind of giving the resident even more time at that point to kind of try to take care of the actual violation. Now, obviously, if all else fails, then at that point, we have to go to further enforcement, which is us getting a city, issuing citations, getting a city contractor to go out there and get it taken care of, like you see here on the far side picture. Same thing here. It's the same thing. You have neighbors where you have, they're storing things in the backyard, creating rodent issues, things like that. Mosquito problems, because some of those items do retain water. It's the same thing. We're issuing the notices, given the time, but eventually we do have to, at that point, get the city contractor to get out there. And there is more to that, like, once the city contractor does go out to the actual property, then it becomes my job to kind of take it further, let them know, because there is going to be a fine, there is an invoice for all of those things. So it's always best to, if you do get a notice, give me a call, give them, or the code officer a call, talk to them about it. You need more time, let them know what's going on, and then at that point we can kind of work with you with whatever's happening. Like I always say with my team, we will always work with our residents until they give us a reason not to. Because there comes a point when you're going to give me a reason not to be able to work with you, and if that comes to that point, then at that point I have to do my job and we have to move further at that point. Now, how can you help? Always try to be proactive on your own property. Try to keep it clean, that way you're not seeing me, because nobody wants to see me for some reason. I don't know, I'm a good guy, so, but it's one of those things, it's part of the job, I guess, But, also, you can always contact me if you're uncertain of a violation, maybe down the street from you, maybe next to you. If you're unsure of it, just give me a call. If you don't want to give me a call, use your app and just send it to me anyways. You can take a picture, send it to me, and then at that point, if it is a violation, obviously I will pass it along to my team. If it is not, I will write a message there and I will return it back to you, letting you know why it is not an actual violation at that point. This is my phone number here. So if you ever were to call it, you're gonna get me. So also at the bottom, that's our email address, and below that is where you go on the city website to actually enter the actual complaint if you wanna do it that way. If you don't have the app, then you can go on our website and you can do it through that too. You don't have to necessarily use your phone. It's probably best because you can take pictures and that way we can see what you're seeing, right? Now, we are going to be changing our format for citations. So this is a topic that nobody wants to talk about, but we have to. Because I have to issue citations at some point in time. But we are going to be changing from our paper format, what you're used to seeing, which is a nice little yellow piece of paper that tells you, all the information about the actual citation, tells you the courthouse, the hours, phone number, all of those things. So it's going to be changing. And what it's going to be changing to is going to be looking like, I'll show you a picture after this, but basically it's going to be more of a QR code. So it's going to look like a little business card, okay? And that's going to have information there. It's going to have phone number that you can call if you want to call me, and we can kind of talk about that. It'll be the courthouse phone number, so that way they can tell you what the violation is. On the back of the actual small little business card, you have the court date and the time for you to show up to court. If you decide to actually use your phone, your smartphone at that point, and you scan the QR code, then what's going to happen is it's going to take you directly to the actual citation. You'll be able to see it. It's going to look like the ones that they issue, like police department issues, the little long white ticket. Hopefully none of you have ever gotten one, but if you haven't, it looks long. It looks like a huge receipt, basically. And it's going to look like that, but it's going to be in a digital format, right? So now, I understand that I don't have the level of education that I can give to my residents. What I mean by that is this. I'm not going to be able to, every single time I knock on a door, that somebody's going to answer. So for the very first couple months, once this goes live, which will be in January, when it goes live, me and my team are gonna be doing for the first couple months, we're gonna be mailing all of those citations. So you are gonna be getting the business card, you're just gonna be getting it by mail with a letter in there explaining what it is, why you're getting it, and how to go about getting the information. So that way everybody kind of gets used to it as we kind of go along through all of that. But eventually, the plan is to be able to leave those citations at the property. But we do have to try to do at least some kind of education, because I can't expect everybody to just look at a little business card on the door and think, oh, I know what that is. Because we all get those little business cards, it might look like a little tree trimming service, you know what I mean? And you just throw it away, and that's not what I want. I don't want you to all of a sudden get a warrant for your arrest. This is over something that could have been avoided. This is how it's gonna look like whenever you do get it. Just think of it as an actual little business card. This is just, blown up. But you'll see here, it has, code enforcement. It'll tell you in big red, code enforcement citation for you to scan the QR code. Down here, it'll have phone number and more information, and on the back side, which is the far side of it, you'll see where it says court, and also the court time. So it'll tell you the court date and the court time for you to be able to see it. But again, for the first couple of months, because we want to educate all of our residents as much as we can and as much as possible, we are going to be mailing all of these business cards. And again, you're going to be having a letter with it. You'll be able to, everything's going to be explained on that letter as to what it is, what's going on, how to go about obtaining that information. And that will be it for me.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. So I hope everyone has taken down the contact information and also downloading the app on your phone. That way you're empowered to submit your concerns that you may have, and you can also follow along with the process and see where it is and the status of it. So that way you're just better informed. Also, the next item that we're going to talk about, I really want you to pay attention to when they get to the AMI. That will be an impact that I think you should be aware of that could be possibly coming. So please, thank you for your patience. Again, if you want some refreshments in the back, help yourself. We have the restrooms over on the side, and we have water and chips. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I just wanted to also touch, if you're wondering why we're going into the new and blue and that system, going through the process of turning into that, we are, if you might be aware that our police department had turned into the same system for their enforcement or the citation piece. So we are trying to unify the systems that the city use, where we track enforcement and citations overall and have it connected to our court system as well. So that's why we are turning code enforcement into the new and blue for citations as well. With that, I will walk you through some of our capital development or capital improvement related projects. So what is happening now is these are the projects that are already in place and that are already happening. So we are working on a drainage master plan, and under the drainage master plan, we're doing a stream condition assessment as well. Our area of analysis that we have currently been working on with the engineer and the stream condition scientist is Mock Branch from East Wheatland Road to East Daniel Day Road, as well as the 10-mile creek from South Main Street to East City limits. And these are the areas that found with the most concern for flooding reasons and based on the engineering modeling that we have done. Based on this drainage master plan, what it's going to come up with is a calculated risk areas as well as recommendations for improvements that help solve those problems. So basically recommendations for projects that would help us address existing problems when it comes to drainage, as well as helps us be part of the regional plan that is happening in the region, addressing those creeks issues and be able to work with the agencies, other agencies in Dallas County on their larger scale projects to be part of the floodplain management as a city. So this is for the drainage master plan. The other project that is happening right now is the Cedar Ridge reconstruction project. And some of you might know that from the previous bond program. This was a previous bond project that we are kicking off for construction here very soon. So we have put this project out for bid, and we got the lowest bidder with a great price saving compared to the probable cost that we estimated through the engineer, which is a good news. And we're going to be able to kick that project soon. We're in the process of awarding that to the contractor. So, and some of the projects that are going to be happening very soon here or kicking off next is going to be our highway safety improvement project. So the good news that we have shared before is that the city of Duncanville had submitted a grant application or a grant support project through a call for a project that happened earlier this year by TxDOT under the Highway Safety Improvement Program. And we got selected, so we got awarded over $500,000 to address ADA ramps, pedestrian signals, and pedestrian crossings, and basically traffic signals upgrades on Wheatland Road, giving that it is the corridor with the most safety or crash rates concerns. The limits of that project will be Wheatland Road between Clark Road and Cocker Hill Road. So that's one of the projects. The other projects that we're working on kicking off soon is implementing another grant funds that we got through the Community Development Block Grant funds from Dallas County, and it's going to allow us to improve more ADA ramps on Camp Wisdom West and Forest Hill. We also planning to kick off or put out for bid for reconstructions for Nob Hill and Greenbrier Road for utilities projects. And we anticipate the bid of those projects. We're working through the final edits on the design, and we are anticipating to bid that here by the 2027. And so as part of what's happening next as well, we have the Softwood Aerial, another project that we're going to bid for construction this year. We are also working on East Cherry Alley, which is a project that that we're working on with the same engineer on the final edits, as I mentioned, for the Nob Hill. We just had a meeting about this today, actually. So we plan to kick this off soon, as soon as possible, and possibly sooner than this time frame, if we can. And the last three items that we would like to discuss with you is the service center renovation and addition, and this is something that the city manager here will talk about a little more as he talks about the existing bond program proposal and the details of that, and to give you some status about the renovations of this. This project was awarded about $2 million back in with the 2018 bond program, but it was never been able to complete it due to short budget compared to what it is estimated to be done today. So that's why it is still an outstanding project to be considered for the next bond, and the city manager will talk more about that. The advanced metering infrastructure is another one that Councilmember Gooden just referred to, and our assistant city manager Mark will be able to talk more about that here and next. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mohammed. So again, my name is Mark Rauscher. I'm the assistant city manager here at the city of Duncanville, and so tonight just going to provide you with a little bit of an overview on AMI. I'm sure many of you all have heard of of this type of infrastructure. Essentially, a lot of cities for many years just relied upon meter readers, going out monthly, taking hand reads at every meter, and then taking that data, and it would go back to the city's utility billing department so that they could get invoicing ready each month. And as you could imagine, that's a fairly labor-intensive effort. It's also an effort that at times can have some inaccuracies, and so with AMI technology, you're able to streamline a lot of this and create efficiencies and cost savings for not only the city, but in a lot of cases, citizens as well. And we'll kind of talk through that here a little bit. But essentially, AMI involves infrastructure enhancements, and you can see a little graphic here down below. But basically, these enhancements enable two-way communication between the business or residents and the city. And it involves various pieces of hardware and software infrastructure that enable this two-way communication to happen. So you can see in this exhibit here, this is an example of a single-family home that would be installed with a smart meter, and this smart meter would then register via cell phone technology in a lot of cases. Some cities that don't have very good cell phone infrastructure will rely on a separate meter repeater system that usually sits on light poles or other infrastructure to transmit. But either way, those data reads end up going from the house or business via the cell phone tower, in this case, to the utility billing office, so that they can then, with that data, go ahead and get monthly utility billing invoices prepared and sent out to the community. So there are various benefits I kind of touched on earlier with respect to this AMI technology. Number one, operationally, there are various benefits that involve more accurate meter reads. You're also able to better detect water leaks. A lot of times when you're looking at the meter reads that come out of it, you can see water loss happening at various locations, and so that's a big benefit. Also, as I said earlier, this eliminates the need for having personnel go out each month and do hand reads at each meter location. And then in a few cases, we have instances where water theft is happening, and so through this technology, we can identify those cases and get that resolved. Financially, there are various benefits as well, including reduced maintenance and operational equipment costs. Also, as I mentioned earlier, it helps to streamline the billing process. And then it enables faster restoration of water service during water line breaks, because you can, by utilizing the system, you can better anticipate where you have the issues occurring, with water loss, for example, and then that helps us better target those repair efforts. And then on the customer side, these water loss situations are more quickly identified, and this helps to reduce, wasted water as well as costs associated with that waste. It also helps to improve the billing cycle and helps create some flexibility there as well on the customer side. And also for the customer, there's a portal that these systems come with, and kind of similar to Encore, you're able to download an app on your phone, or you can do it through your computer at home, and you can actually go on the portal and you can see in real time your water usage. And if you feel like I'm using too much, something must be happening, then that can be further investigated. And then secondly, you can simply change your watering habits. I know a city that I came from, we had a lot of large acreages, 1 acre and 2 acre lots, and people would go on that portal and they would be amazed at how much water they utilized, and a lot of times that was due to sprinkling. So they can then go in and change their sprinkler system so that it helps them save money at the end of the day. So in terms of when this system might be deployed, the city has been looking at this for quite some time. We are currently working on what's called a Performance Services Contract, or PSC. to go ahead and upgrade all of the water meters in the city. Right now, we've got approximately just under 13,200 water meters throughout the city of Duncanville. And, what we're doing here is not new in the industry, both in terms of the water side and the electricity side. You have what are called performance services contracts. And basically, these are self-funding contracts that help to enhance sustainability while delivering guaranteed savings through the project. And basically, you hire a vendor. A lot of people have probably heard of Johnson Controls. They're an example of a vendor that's out there that does this kind of work, and there are many others. Amoresco is another one. And basically, you hire them, and they do all the engineering design work and construct the project and essentially provide a turnkey service for the city. And so that's the process that we are looking at through this AMI project. One of the first steps of doing a project like this is having an investment grade audit or IGA performed, and the city's already had that done. We also, in terms of paying for this project, we did apply for a grant with the Texas Water Development Board. Unfortunately, we did learn earlier this year that we were not selected for funding. That type of grant oftentimes goes to cities that have subpar water services, and so in some ways that helps show that we do have a really good superior water service here. But unfortunately, we were not selected for that grant funding. And so our next step is to basically brief the city council. We've got a city council strategic workshop planned for next Friday, December 12th, and this will be one of the agenda items that we will be talking about in terms of developing a preferred plan and how we want to go ahead and finance the project. And then our intent is to go ahead and start this project sometime in 2027, and we believe it'll be about a 12 to 18 month long duration before we get all of those 13,000 plus water meters upgraded, along with all the other software and hardware upgrades that are part of the project. So there'll be definitely more information to come here as we move forward over the coming months. Sure.
Thank you. So thank you so much for the detail. Because I'm sometimes a layman's person, I want to make sure that we fully understand. We're doing AMI because we're having water loss. Water that we cannot account for is coming up sometimes in a range of $1 million a year that we have lost water because we buy our water from Dallas. And the water that we're purchasing from Dallas, we're not able to sell it or account for all that has been used. So with that, we're now looking at we've been looking at AMI for a while, but we're trying to find a way to finally implement it so that way we can recoup what we're purchasing from Dallas. We're not selling that much to the public. So there's a deficit there. And that means that your meters are not accurately reading your usage. So you're paying an amount now, but when you get the meter, the hope is to have it accurately read what you're using, and it would accurately charge you for what you're using. And we will recoup that money. So that could possibly have a high potential for an increased water bill. That is why I wanted this to be discussed tonight. So that way you're knowing about it now and you can prepare ahead of time. Please pay attention to council meetings. We're going to be discussing these items and more. That way you have a leg up on how to prepare ahead of time, and you can be just informed. That's really all that we're trying to do as a council body, to find ways that keep you informed of what's going on here in the city that you live and the tax dollars that you're paying. So with that, it's a good thing that, because my street, I believe, was 2006. And with that said, Councilmember Grady was in place. It was this guy who fought for the street that we live on Natalie Lane. And he fought for the infrastructure and the sturdiness and the strength of the street that we currently live on, where we don't have any potholes. However, thank you, Grady. So with that said, we have water meters that in my neighborhood, that's on my street for 2006 is when my home was built. But there are some that are older and who've been having that same water meter for the longest. And therefore that water meter is old and is not reading according to how you're using it. And therefore we need this so that way we're not losing money and we can kind of offset or make up that deficit that we have with what we're purchasing from the city of Dallas. Does that make sense? Okay, all right, I'll pass it on. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that is some good information. And just from working in cities where you had AMI, that's why that customer portal really comes into play, because it does help you look at your real-time cost. And I remember we had a gentleman whose bill went up, and when we looked at his portal, he actually had a water leak in his a toilet leak and didn't know about it, and saved himself some money. That portal really is helpful. So again, more to come on that. I am going to really quickly walk through the bond program, kind of where we are and where we're going. And so last spring, the city council formed a 2025 bond committee, and they met from March to July of this year. And really, they just basically reviewed and ranked all the critical capital project needs for the city: parks, roads, facilities, the police station, service center that was mentioned earlier, several different capital projects. And so after going through that rigorous process, and really they spent a lot of time looking at those projects, they did present a recommendation to the city council on July 15th of this year. And what they recommended was a $20 million bond program broken into two propositions. One was the police station addition and reconstruction for $12 million at the existing site, and then also the public works service center that was just touched on just a minute ago, with the intent of scheduling an election for this last November election. And really the reason they chose these two projects is really to highlight the public works service center is it really is an outdated, undersized facility, and it really does pose some logistical and safety challenges for our staff. And then, we really do need a new facility that will really improve our fleet maintenance operations, our storage. We store a lot of materials for road construction or, fixing water lines, etc. And also storm response, and just really those day-to-day operations that are critical to field maintenance, whether it's repairing a street or fixing a water or sewer line. And then the other one was the police and courts facility. The current facility really no longer meets the operational needs for the department. There's some not only safety or space needs as well. There are some challenges. And really there's just a need for more modern policing technology that's not available in that facility today. Real-time information center is a really great example. It allows our police department to really utilize cameras, et cetera, really in one place to monitor what's going on in the city and really kind of makes that process more efficient. But again, there's not that infrastructure support in there to make that happen. And also just ability to grow both now and in the future for that facility. And so at the time when it was presented, the city council made the strategic decision to go ahead and delay the bond program until May of 2026 to really do a more comprehensive evaluation of the police facility needs. The proposal did have some needs as far as doing some reconstruction and habit, but it, really just more of an in-depth analysis. Really just a full assessment to ensure the proposed building both supports current operations and the future. And so we went through an RFQ process and we did hire a professional firm to help us do this full-fledged needs assessment. And so that started in October of this year, and we should be complete in January and have the results of that. And so our goal and our target is to bring that same recommendation forward with updated information to the city council by February of 2026. Again, with the goal and target to call a May election. And so speaking which, that gives me a good segue into our next presentation with Chief Matt Stogner to just give a little bit overview of what's going on in the police department.
Thank you. I want to preface my conversation I'm battling a cold, so I just popped in a cough drop. So if I have to take a drink of water, it's because of that. Or if I have to excuse myself to have a coughing fit, bear with me, please. I want to make sure that we encapsulate essentially the police department and the need. And I want you guys to understand that it's not just a building. It's whether or not we can function as a law enforcement agency to protect you and your property. We have had significant challenges in that building since they moved in. That building was erected, I believe, in the mid-'80s. And although I wasn't there, I didn't start until '98, I did work with people who did move into that location. They said the minute they stepped foot into it, they outgrew it. They weren't unhappy that they got a new building, but they just knew the needs in the future was gonna outgrow what they were currently in. And we're dealing with that now. Some of the photos that you saw, we have people officing in an office that's 6 by 10, where you can't fully open up the door because it hits their desk. So that is my priority moving forward, is making sure that we understand the need of that. Thank you. Okay, so moving in. So I just want to give you guys an overview. And first off, let me say this. Thank you for inviting me to this town hall. It's good, and this is great. And in addition to that, thank all of y'all for being here. And I mean that sincerely. You guys, when we come to these, we hope that we have a crowd like this. And it encourages me to make sure I'm at my best, not only now, but when I go back to work, because of the things that I'm going to talk to you guys about tonight. So our department, excuse me, has 65 police officers. That has increased because of our council's support. When I hired on, we were right at 60. It does not include the chief of police. So we had 60. So over time, we've been able to increase our staffing. So the matrix, the council came in and said, hey, we're gonna hire this firm to come in and figure out how many officers you guys are gonna need for the future, which is great. So they came in and said, hey, listen, you guys, for the next 10, 15 years, y'all need to increase your staffing by 8 additional officers and 2 additional sergeants. So it gives us an idea of how we plan this moving forward. And it gives them a great idea as well. They have been extremely supportive of us, both publicly, when a lot of times police, in general, we fade a lot of heat. Let's be honest, if something happens negatively in Seattle, we feel it down here in Texas. And they have publicly supported us, and I really appreciate them doing that. Now, we have 5 vacancies. I think everybody in here could probably be a police officer. So scan this and apply. Our next test is mid-January. If you have somebody, that includes you, Ms. Liger, if you have somebody who's interested in applying, please have them send this to them. It is a great department. And I'm telling you, I tell this publicly, and I've said it several times already, a lot of agencies don't have the support that we have in our governing body. And that's what I sell to new recruits. It's perfect, it's great. So anyway, so we have 5 vacancies. Now that does not mean that we have 60 officers in uniform out there on the street. We're effectively down about 14 officers. That means the other 9 are in the police academy. They're on medical leave. They're somewhere else, not on the street. So don't think that we have 60 officers on the street right now. So our division in the police department, as you can see, it encompasses a lot of people. Now there are some new ones, and I say new, there are some units that we brought back, because I felt my 2 assistant chiefs, which I want to highlight real quick, Assistant Chief T. Arena, he commands patrol, and Assistant Chief Wilcox commands our support, which encompasses all of this area. So some of the new things that we brought back are our K-9 unit, our bike patrol, our RISE unit, which is our care team. I pulled them from a regional aspect and had them specifically here because we had more of a benefit, obviously, with them housed in Duncanville. So we go through there. This is the big thing, a real-time information center. That is the future of law enforcement. You'll see on this next slide, I'm a very data-driven person. When you have limited resources, you have to have data that drives your decision, things that you can prove and put people in those areas, which you'll see soon. So data-driven decisions, we're using data. That allows me, so when we receive speeding complaints, does anybody want to take a guess on how many miles of roads we have in Duncanville? 500? Thank God, no, that is not. We would need several more officers. We have 155 miles. Now, put that in perspective. What is 155 miles? You drive to Austin. That's 155 miles, a roundabout. So that's how many miles 65 people have to patrol. Now, as much as I love patrol, I'm not in a squad car patrolling. These two guys back here aren't in a squad car patrolling. So when you start limiting things, plus you have your detectives. So we have about 30 patrol officers. We're looking at increasing that. Understand that I have to use data to put people in specific areas that I can prove are enforceable. And I'll show you. So criminal activity is the same way. So this is a report that I get. Like if I get a speeding complaint, I'll get with our traffic officers and say, hey, listen, this was on Cedar Hill Road. Go put out the JAMR device. They normally put it out for about 10 days, 11 days. It analyzed almost 23,000 cars. And it's telling me there is only an 8% of that of violations. So when you see that as a police chief or a director, and you have others that have a moderate or high risk, where are you gonna put your people? Exactly. So this is the data that I use. So when you call and say, hey, we have speeders, I'm sure you do. But an 8% chance of an officer sitting there, the chances of them catching that vehicle is non-existent. I don't know the algorithm to display that. In addition to that, so you look at this. So this is a heat map. This shows where your motor vehicle thefts, stolen vehicles, and burglary of vehicles occur. And this was in October. So when you see this, where do you think our issues arise from? Think about it. Here's 20, right? And here's 67. So when I saw this, what do you think I did? Where do you think the most, I guess the densest location on there where I could put somebody in there and say, I have a higher percentage chance of us catching somebody breaking into somewhere here or like here? Absolutely. So when you look at this and you think about it, any of you guys could be a police chief. Because truly you're using data to, yes, even you, Miss Sliger, you're using data to provide a response. Now, what we do is we try to force multiply. How do we force multiply? Someone mentioned it's cameras. We have cameras all along here, and we have cameras here. So any way that you're coming into Duncanville, we're hitting your license plate. Believe me, this has been a significant advantage to us. We saw the murder, one of our murders, because of these license plate cameras. So let's think about it. And I know the privacy concerns. I don't care what you're doing. But if you're violating the law, that's where, in the past, we kind of separated ourselves. I am 100%. If you violated the law, then you're going to face the consequences. We're law enforcement. So my job is to minimize this. We may not ever eradicate it, but we'll minimize it. And I'm gonna give a presentation to the council. It's gonna be new, after the new year. And I hope you guys watch it, because you are gonna be amazed on what we've been able to accomplish, what they've been able to accomplish. I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun. I'm not gonna spoil it though. I believe it's the second meeting, the 20th. I believe it's January 20th. Is that right? That's right. Okay, so going back to the speeding analysis. So it's quality of life things. So I understood that there were some issues, specifically in District 4, on the speeding complaints prior to coming here. So I told my traffic officers, hey, go set these out. 1100 Willow Run. It was from 11:25 to 12:01, 341 cars, 1 violation. Is there a reason for me to put an officer out there? Next one, 1600 Lime Tree, 3,000 cars, 17. Again. And we're all about enforcing speed, but I have to have a reason to put these people out there. Now that doesn't mean we ignored it. We still patrol your area. And then the last one, this was shocking, Silver Creek, 10,000 vehicles, and you had 86. So I need to put my resources in areas that will show some improvement. Does that make sense? Okay, the future of policing is technology. I'm catching up to technology. So this is a real-time information center. You may have heard it as a real-time crime center. Well, it's more of an information center. It's providing us information. So one of the things that we are implementing, is called Fusus. If you look at the city of Atlanta, that's who this company kind of onboarded. And it's an officer safety thing as well. So what Fusus does is we can go to businesses. This is not fully implemented yet, so bear with me. We're gonna go to businesses where we know that we're having issues. We can give them a box, and they can hook their camera system into it. And now, we have an officer there 24/7 watching those video cameras. So that's a force multiplier. Now, I don't have to have a resource there anymore. I can have one right here watching 15 different locations. That's a force multiplier. That's what I have to think about whenever I'm trying to push our resources out, if that makes sense. So it also increases officer safety. So understand, when we get a call, we don't have any eyes on the location if the reporting person hangs up. Because now all we're getting is information from our dispatch center. So let's say someone's getting assaulted at a location. We're getting real-time information from somebody who speaks the same language as we do, because it's a police officer sitting in that room. Real-time information. Understand, when you're calling and speaking with dispatch, it goes to our dispatcher, they input it in the computer, they send it, and then they relay it to us. So there's a delay. It's not like we're getting it immediately as you're saying it. There's absolutely zero delay. The other thing is, police officers are being ambushed more and more now, where people are calling 911 to get us there and then shooting us. So the other great thing that we're implementing is a drone first responder. So we're gonna have autonomous drone. We're gonna set up parameters, things of that nature. We don't care what you're doing in your backyard. That's not what this thing's used for. It's used for us to get to these locations to provide us information for when we get there, we're safe. And my job is to make sure these officers go home. So this will also be a part of our real-time information center. We don't have any area to put that in right now in our police department. I looked at purchasing a Connex box to do this because it's so important to me, because it's this right here. It enhances officer safety. Plus it allows us to minimize people getting their cars broken into, people getting their cars stolen. It's visitors who are coming here. So what happens if you go somewhere and your car gets broken into? Will you ever go there again? Probably not. There's a reputation in Duncanville that I'm trying to fix. Duncanville's not a high crime city. So this presentation I'm giving in January will prove it, all right? That's the information we need to get out there. That's the information, the transparency from the police department to you all. I'll tell you, I was hesitant because the police chief gets way too much credit when crime goes down and way too much criticism when crime goes up. But it's important to be transparent though. I'm willing to fade the heat if crime goes up, but these guys need the accolades when crime goes down though. So with that, I believe that's it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief. I just want to commend him for being the police chief and coming out and speaking to our community. So, thank you, we appreciate it. Now, I'm going to hand it over to our Assistant Director, Marlon Goff of Economic Development. Now, we always, when I'm campaigning, I can hear, we want more of this, and we need more businesses, we need more of this and more of that. Mr. Goff is going to speak to some of those concerns and what we're doing about it as council and as operations. So thank you, Marlon, for attending tonight.
Good evening, neighbors. I am Marlon Goff. My department is Economic Development. I want to say this first. It's normally unfair to follow the police department, Chief Stockner, and them boys and backs, except if you actually are on the last presentation. Because I'm saying, y'all been hearing us talk all night, so I'm gonna give more grace than I maybe normally would, because you're just ready to get this thing over with and ask some questions. So be considerate with your time. Okay, whenever I get to talk about economic development, like for example, if I was in the classroom, I like to describe it as, it's a loaded term, right? It's a compound word, right? You usually hear it together, right? Like high school, two words usually saying high school or elementary school. Right, but the first part of economic development is the economy, right? So let's start there, right? The economic profile of our local economy. Here's how we look on paper. The workforce, right? We'll see, using census data, they're saying we have a little over 17,000 people participate in the economy. In terms of the business, the local economy, the industry, let's take a look at the pie chart, right? We pretty balanced in terms of, you know, representation with healthcare, manufacturing. Some of our largest employers in this city are our educational institutions and some of our manufacturing and commercial industries, right? But also represented professional services, logistics, and financial services, right? Using census data, they say on a given day, there's about 40,000 people in our city, right? Just for what it's worth. And median household income, right? Let's say the midpoint. Right, so when we're looking at us on paper, here's just a quick snapshot of the economy in Duncanville, Texas. Okay? Another thing we benefit from as practitioners, so our finance department, I think I seen Mr. Jackson earlier, the finance staff provides us with monthly reports. So the Community and Economic Development Corporation, right, as an example, is funded through the local sales tax that are collected. So what we're seeing here on the slide is a snapshot of some of that collection activity. So this represents the sales tax that were collected in September, but we don't actually receive them and deposit into our accounts until November. So it's pretty accurate up to date. We have our peer cities in the best Southwest region, Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Lancaster, and ourselves highlighted, just to show kind of where we land. We all have the same tax rate, so 2% on those eligible purchases. So just to give us a rough snapshot of where we were currently, where we're at this milestone this time last year, and what the projections look like as we close out this close out this calendar year of sales tax collection, right? So we use that data. Sorry. Okay. So we use that data. We're talking about the economy, right? How we look on paper, how we compete. We took an illustrative look at sales tax as one of the tools that we use, right, to steward our economy. So here's how we go about, right, our business as a department, as a corporation. We're trying to develop the economy, right? This is how economic development works. If you look at our budget that was approved, 3 primary categories of activities that you'll find. Business retention, business expansion, and then the recruitment, the attraction, right? Of those businesses, those industries that we want to see more of. So how we go about that activity of business retention is we get out, we're visiting businesses, meeting with them, right? We track how many businesses we're going to visit in a given year. Those conversations then lend themselves to us understanding what's happening more so in the local economy. What are some of the challenges that our businesses are facing? But also, what are some of the opportunities of growth? Business expansion, again, it starts with that business visit, but we're finding maybe some businesses are doing really well. Maybe there's an opportunity for them to expand their business. Maybe they actually need a larger space. They're looking to add jobs, right? The police department's hiring. But there are a lot of other businesses that have help wanting signs up around town as well, right? So that activity happens when we're out in the community learning and understanding what's happening in our commercial corridors. And then the last one, the business attraction, right? You know, we like to say nobody's coming to save you. Business attraction and economic development, it really is a competitive sport. So how we position Duncanville, like how we fly the banner is we submit sites, right? We identify real estate site selectors. A lot of times, you know, if I'm scrolling next door or having conversations with neighbors or in the community, hey, Mr. Goff, why can't we get this? Or what about this business? You first start with the real estate, right? You start with locations. Secondly, you have to understand how these brands or companies make decisions on how and where they're making investments, right? And so again, we take our snapshot, here's our workforce, here's our median household income data, here's the available sites that we have, here's our incentive toolkit, right? We're motivated to have you, but ultimately, you know, we have to proactively go after those businesses to attract them and let them know about the opportunities that exist here in Southern Dallas County and Duncanville specifically, okay? In terms of targeted corridors and incentives, I think Richard mentioned this earlier when talking about our budget, right? So we have funding set aside and targeted for our commercial shopping centers, right? Duncanville is what we refer to as a first-tier suburb, right? And so a lot of our shopping centers that maybe were built post-World War II era, right? We've seen a turnover, right? They're in need of reinvestment. And so we've identified that need, right? And we set aside specific funding. Main Street is a very important corridor, right? From north to south, we're interested in businesses that are looking to reinvest or relocate along that corridor. I would add Wheatland. I would also add Camp Wisdom, right? Camp Wisdom is an overlay district that we refer to as TIF. It's a tax income reinvestment zone, right? And so think of how our city's laid out on the grid. You have primary commercial corridors. All of those areas, they're on our radar. We feel like we have a really good toolkit. We got a really good staff, right? It's just when opportunity, right, meets that investment, we think we'll be in position to really start to grow this economy. Okay. You likely contact our department to do business if you're looking to do one of these categories. But to start, we've got our QR code. So pull out your phones, right? Scan the QR code. It'll take you to our website, our landing page. There you can find all sorts of information. You want to get a permit, you want to learn how to start a business, maybe some frequently asked questions. We just rolled out a new design incentive grant program December 1st. You can find out information about that. But if you open a business, you want to improve your existing business, maybe you want to build a house or a commercial property, you want to learn again about grants or incentives, or you just want some data to help you make a decision. These are all the things that our team, our department, our staff is ready and willing to help you with, and here's how to get in contact with us. On the bottom, I mentioned earlier that our corporation, usually you just hear EDC, Economic Development Corporation, but it's actually a community and economic development corporation. And the reason why I say that is, one of the other things we are investing in is the cultural and the quality of life benefits for this community. An example of that is our signature events, right? Next one is this Friday, December 6th. I hope to see every one of y'all right outside at Armstrong Park for holiday lights, 5 o'clock. Okay, December 5th, 6 o'clock, Armstrong Park. December 5th, 6 o'clock, Armstrong Park. Okay, but if you were happen to have a block party, right? You're having a big event, you may have 50, 70 people, you got food trucks. Not very many people know you need a permit for that, okay? Our department, we have a special events planner. She will receive that online permit application, right? So we can make sure that you got parking covered, right? That the food truck has a license and get inspected, right? That you aren't gonna be a nuisance and we have a bunch of complaints from your neighbors or your adjacent business owners. So again, that's an example of both the community and economic stewardship that we're trying to carry out in our department and this corporation. Okay, get to the end, just a few more slides. A couple of recent announcements, business attraction, right? And seeing as existing restaurant in the Bishop Arts area of Oak Cliff, they're doing their interior demolition permits right now in Main Commons, 220 North Main. So we're excited about them opening up spring 2026. Empire, the former Luby's cafeteria on 67, they opened the weekend of Halloween. So they're open, go patronize them. Highway 67, Bojangles, and the RBFCU Credit Union. Victor in our department, he steered this development. They're located just south of the former Luby's and the Empire buffet. All right, a couple more pipeline projects, right? Not yet announced, but our staff evaluating proposals, working with developers in response to some of the recruitment and attraction activities that we're doing. One of the sites we all know as the former tax office, 100 East Wheatland Road, right? No shortage of ideas on what to do with that property. We've had unsolicited proposals. We've had some that we've tried to materialize and cultivate. We fully expect here the first part of the year, we're planning to meet with city administration and the governing bodies and our boards about what do we think about some of these proposals that we think are maybe a really good fit for this site. The other site is actually in our 10th district, I-20 North Duncanville Road, private development. We met with our planning and DRC staff on this site. They've been paying attention to the comprehensive plan that was recently adopted. And so not long after it was approved, they reached back out to me and said, we're ready to work with the staff to bring a development to Duncanville. So stay tuned. I mentioned earlier, I'm representing a lot of people who are involved in economic development in this community. But our staff, we're a team of 5. Victor Berea, he's over there in the breezeway, he's our director. Marcella, she's our development coordinator. They had a virtual meeting, her and Devin, who's our special events planner for Friday's parade and holiday lights event. And then Shamanda, she's only been with us a couple of months. We were lucky to hire her away from Village Tech, but she's really doing a good job of keeping us all organized and more efficient. So this is our team, and that's my presentation. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Marlon. Thank you to all the staff for presenting to us tonight, taking the time to put the presentation together and do your normal daily duties. So thank you for keeping our citizens informed. Now, we're going to open up for any Q&A. I'll come to you with the mic so that way the entire room can hear. And how about 10, 15 minutes? Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Ken Spillman, I live down on near Daniel, and my question is about the status of a proposed bike lane on Daniel Road between Clark Road and Main Street. As I understand it, there was a plan to reduce the roadway from 3 lanes to 2, which makes sense given that the corridor is currently neither walkable nor bike-friendly. This change would create a smooth connection between existing 2-lane sections that already have bike lanes on either end. I heard that funding was originally allocated for this project, but these funds may have been redirected to a bridge project between Harrington and Waterview Parks. Is that correct? And if so, could you explain why the funds were reassigned and whether the bike lane project is still planned?
Thank you for your question. City Manager, would you like to speak to the bike lane question?
Okay, thank you for the question. So, yeah, I think everybody's aware of the bike lanes that were put in on the one section of Daniel, just west of US 67. And we are currently looking at ways to extend those bike lanes. They'll probably look a little different just due to the cost of the bike lane infrastructure that was put in when they did the road diet a few years ago on that piece of Daniel. But we are looking at ways to extend those bike lanes further to the west, going towards the Clark Road area. And we'll have more information here as we get into the new year. But that is something that we hear about occasionally from the public, and I know our Parks Board has gotten that request as well. So we are aware and looking for different ways to be able to implement that.
I'm not sure who hand was up first, but I'm gonna go, okay.
I have 2 quick questions. The LED white lights that Encore was talking about, I don't want the white light. It's too bright, it's right on the corner of my property. And I would really prefer if there was some way to have yellow lights so that the white lights don't draw bugs and don't shine so brightly.
The challenge with that is they don't make yellow.
What about a yellow lens, the cover?
Again, we have to do that for everybody. We have
It's
to do that
okay,
for everybody.
because white lights draw bugs and, yeah, it is okay.
No, ma'am. That's not part of our tariff. And they don't make the yellow ones either. They don't make the yellow ones either.
The other question is, does this AMI for the water, does it look at what's coming in besides what's going into the house? Because we've had a city side leak for 1.5 years. A lot of water.
So I can speak to that we've done an assessment on our leaks throughout the city, correct, to identify where we have leaks. Matt is over here. So did you hear the question? Okay.
Hi everybody, I'm Matt Bryan, I'm the Public Works Director. So yes, the AMI meters will be measuring the water going into your house, that's what you'll be billed for. But as far as the assessment we've done on our infrastructure, speaking of technology, one of the recent things we've done is we've contracted with a company that's capable of satellite leak detection, and that actually highlighted areas of interest. And we knew not only were we losing revenue at the meter, but we're also losing water just in our own infrastructure that we own and maintain. And it actually identified 72 areas of interest. So on top of trying to recover revenue that we're losing at the meter, we're trying to attack leaks in our own infrastructure. So it's a 2-way combination that we're trying to attack. Now, I can assure you that anything that's leaking on the city side, you're not being billed for. Now, we still want to address it because it's water we're losing, and we also don't want to make a mess out in front of your property. So I'll get your information from you, and we'll investigate it first thing in the morning.
Good.
Thank you. Hit this here.
I'm not sure who to address this to, but I live at I-20 in Cedar Ridge, and there was recently 3 lots sold, literally right in front of my house. And there was an appraiser out there for the investment firm that purchased this property, so to speak.